Hey everyone, welcome back to the Money Level Show where we think, act, and prosper. This channel focuses on changing financial trajectories and building legacies. I hope that you all are doing well. I'm your host, Daryl Thomas, and today we're going to talk about bearer assets. And the bull market just continues in these bearer assets. And so that's what we're going to get into today. And first, let's just kick off the intro. And I'm looking forward to engaging in this discussion with you all. All right, so I'll see you all in a minute. All right.
Think. Act. And prosper. You are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
All right. We are back. We have a few of my friends in the chat. Stacking Surfer said, "What up? What up? What's going on? I hope you're doing well, my brother. Appreciate you having me on your show recently. You all be sure to go watch the episode. If you haven't, we unpacked a lot of things in that show, and I'm looking forward to the next time we engage with each other. So appreciate you for jumping on today. JT, what's going on, my guy? My guy, man, I've been trying to reach you on the phone, man. You've been busy. I've been busy, but we'll connect soon, I'm sure. Got to have you back on the channel too. So appreciate the work that you're doing. If you all see me looking down, I'm looking at my computer here because I just did a new setup. And so I'm using a different camera today, which I don't have space to set my computer up in front of the camera. But yes, all this videography stuff, right? But I hope that you all enjoy the new setup. It is looking kind of crispy on my end, but that's not what it's about here. So today we're going to talk about the bull market continues in bearer assets. So I want to talk about what is a bearer asset. That's a very important piece because many people don't know what bearer assets are. So if you are looking at well, I guess it's called a bearer instrument if you're looking at the technical term for it. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen. We're going to go over to Investopedia so that we can explain what is a bearer asset or a bearer instrument. So here we go. So my take on it is a bearer instrument is just a instrument or a financial asset that cannot necessarily be tracked or just taken from you very easily. And so that's kind of just my nutshell view of it. But let's go ahead and read what Investopedia has to say because they are way more qualified than I am to train on this type of stuff, right? What is it? Bearer instrument, what is it and how it works? Let me go ahead and close these ads here. A bearer instrument or bearer bond is a type of fixed income security in which no ownership information is recorded and the security is issued in physical form to the purchaser. So no ownership information is recorded. So for example, if I were to take cash out of the bank, there's no way for someone to know how much cash I have in hand. They know how much I took out of the bank, but I could have went and spent something at a store, and I may have say I took $100 out, I have $50 left. I mean, obviously, if someone really wanted to do the tracking, they could find find that information. I mean, the FBI and people like that do that all the time, right? But but for example, like and say like days past, I could have gave that $50 to someone, a family member or something of that nature. They don't know exactly what happened to that, and I'll still have that $50 cash, in my vault or something like that. So that's pretty much how a bearer asset works. Same thing with gold. If I go to a local coin dealer, say I pay cash for something, right? And I receive some silver or some gold and I store that somewhere. I can store it at home. I can store it in someone else's home or whatever. There's no information recorded on me receiving that gold or silver. And so that's a bearer instrument, which means that it's not necessarily trackable or whatnot. Same thing with Bitcoin. Obviously, there is a Bitcoin blockchain that does keep a ledger of transactions that happen on the ledger, but there are a lot of different things that happen within that. Like you can buy a hardware wallet. No one necessarily knows like your keys or this wallet belongs to you, but you may see the transaction on the Bitcoin ledger, but that person probably can't necessarily track that to you, especially if you're not really doing any transactions with that ledger, or not with the ledger, but with that wallet, or things of that nature. Or someone could buy a wallet and then hand it to you, like, hey, I bought this to you as a gift, and no one knows that it's in your possession, and that person may have Bitcoin on there or something. So those are bearer assets that that people can't necessarily figure out, that you have it in your possession. So that's a bearer asset. So Investopedia pretty much, lays it out here pretty clearly. I hope that you all are doing well. I see JT and Stack and Surfer, they over here chopping it up. Hope y'all doing well. Appreciate you all. So we're going to keep reading here. Bearer instrument is a type of the holder of a bearer instrument is presumed to be the owner, and whoever is in possession of the physical bond is entitled to the coupon payments. There's talking specifically about bonds, but I am talking about other bearer instruments such as gold and Bitcoin. And if you want to consider cash as a bearer instrument, you can consider that, or silver, for example. So the interesting thing about bearer instruments or bearer assets is that with it not being able to be tracked, people can get away with a lot of stuff, right? Let's say let's say you get sued, right? Someone wants to bring a lawsuit against you, and anything that's tied to your social security number, obviously a judge or a government can figure out, like, okay, this person has a home, this person has a retirement fund, this person works here, this is where a social security number goes, we can garnish their wages, all these different things, right? However, they can't tell how much cash you have in the bank, or not in the bank, how much cash you have at home, how much gold you have at home, or how much Bitcoin you have on the wallet. So those are like some of the benefits of having bearer assets. And so we're going to go ahead and jump over to this article here, because there is a bull market going on, and we want to know why the bull market is happening. And let's go ahead and jump over here. So this is an article that talks about MicroStrategy. Many of you know who, some of you may know who Michael Saylor is. He bet big on Bitcoin, and his stock is actually paying off, you all. And I'm going to explain why I think that it's going to continue. This bull market is going to continue to run. So MicroStrategy's big Bitcoin bet pays dividends for investors. The company holds the largest corporate stash of Bitcoin, around 174,000 Bitcoin, valued at approximately 7.36 billion, making up 86% of its market cap. So if you all remember, in 2020, 2021, there was this whole debate on gold versus Bitcoin and such. And Michael Saylor was one of the prominent Bitcoin voices out there. And he was like one of the initial big corporations that was going out like, hey, we're holding Bitcoin on our balance sheet. We saw Elon Musk and Tesla do it, and so that fueled the bull run and such. And so Michael Saylor was actually out there talking to a lot of other corporations and why people should own this and things of that nature, right? And so they keep doubling down on Bitcoin. So despite the potential competition from spot Bitcoin ETFs, MicroStrategy plans to continue its Bitcoin accumulation. Recently purchased an additional 16,000 Bitcoin. All right. So Michael Saylor, I don't even think he's at MicroStrategy anymore, but MicroStrategy continues to buy Bitcoin, and their stock surged 317%. So let's go ahead and look at MicroStrategy stock, because I was honestly too bearish on it. All right. So I was having this conversation with a friend of mine. I was getting way too bearish Let's see. Stack and Surfer said, KYC really killed my interest in Bitcoin. How do you guys buy Bitcoin anonymously when exchanges K require KYC? KYC is know your customer. Know your customer. I think that it just kind of depends. I mean, if you were to, let's say, your long lost cousin, gives you a ledger, right, and sends you Bitcoin, right, and that may be, let's say, because I know certain assets, like for example, like when I use my ledger and Trezor, I'm not having to necessarily put my personal information in there, and so whenever, and I'm not a hard wallet expert or anything like that, but I do use them. And what I've noticed is that whenever I don't buy directly on the ledger, or whenever I don't buy directly on any type of hard wallet, then I'm not necessarily putting my information in there. So I set it up and I haven't put any information in there. I mean, unless they're tracking your IP address or something like that. I don't know. I'm not as technologically advanced, but there are many people that actually look at hardware wallets and the technology of it, and they kind of tend to remain anonymous. And so yeah, we're jumping over to MicroStrategy. I got way too bearish on MicroStrategy. So obviously, in 2021, I mean, their stock hit $1,300, and I had got too bearish, you all. Like, to be honest, I was like, okay, we're going in a bear market, and I'm not touching this stock. And so when I say I got too bearish, is that whenever the stock was trading at $100, I didn't jump on that opportunity because I was thinking like, okay, Bitcoin's going to go lower. And so this is a problem, like with certain, when you're in certain echo chambers, like an asset can become so cheap. But if you could continue to listen to voices that say it's going to go lower, it's going to be a bigger crash and all these different things, you can miss out on some great buying opportunities. Same thing applies when people were saying, like, pumping Bitcoin, like, hey, Bitcoin's going to 100,000, all these things, and Bitcoin's at 68,000, 69,000. And if you're in that camp and you're like, oh yeah, it's going higher, it's going to 100,000 in this cycle, blah, 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 you miss a selling opportunity, right? And so you get too bearish or too bullish. And so I was too bearish and I missed out on a great buying opportunity in multiple stocks. But MicroStrategy was one of those. So we could see MicroStrategy hit down here, $130. This was in May of last year. I remember I was watching it and I was like, yeah, I should get in, but I was too scared, right? I thought it was going to go lower. MicroStrategy is now sitting at $667, right? $667. I could have bought it at $130. Its high was at $1,300. Now it's sitting at $667. So yeah, that's kind of the case for like being too bearish versus too bullish. Let's see, we got Nick Coins in the house. Appreciate you. I wish crypto didn't sound so French to me. I really need to apply myself to learn. Yeah, it kind of just depends on how deep you want to go in the matrix, right? You can go the route of like, hey, I'm just going to speculate. I'm just going to throw some money here, and then hopefully this money just turns from $100 to $1,000. Or, or it may be like, hey, I'm just going to focus on the blue chip. Excuse me. I'm just going to focus on the blue chip cryptos, which are like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of the higher quality coins. Or it could be, you want to get into like the technology, okay, this Web3 or this blockchain and how the NFTs ride this blockchain, and how is this going to solve this issue of interoperability, all this stuff. Like, I mean, you can get very deep into that stuff. And that's not me. I try to get a basic understanding of it. I do listen to people that are able to explain that stuff, but I don't feel confident enough to talk about it myself. So yeah, so hang on real quick. And so Stack and Server said, I do have a Bitcoin miner. they'll take it with cash for Bitcoin and put it on a hardware wallet that is not KFC. That may be my ticket. Totally understand that, man. I had honestly, I had a Bitcoin miner. I played my cards wrong, Stack and Surfer. I bought a Bitcoin miner in December of 2022. You know, I was just like, okay, I bought a secondhand miner and I paid about $6,000 for it. I think Bitcoin was still at, let's look at the price. Where was Bitcoin at around that time? Bitcoin USD. Try this. All right, so Bitcoin, let's see, December 2021. Yeah, it was still hovering around here, right? It was still at about 50,000. So I paid 6,000 for this miner, and the price ended up cratering, right? I mean, if I would have held out, obviously till June, I mean, Bitcoin hit 16K, right? So, you know, my miner was a secondhand miner. It was an older miner. It wasn't accumulating as much Bitcoin as the newer miners. And at the time, you know, the miners were priced based off the price of Bitcoin. So when I bought it at 50,000, when Bitcoin was at 50,000, I paid $6,000 for a secondhand miner, and the other ones were probably like, I think 8,000, 10,000. Anyways, Bitcoin price craters. The brand new miners 6 months later go for $6,000, or no, $2,000, about $2,000 to $2,500. And at that point, you know, I was like, man, I already done lost a lot of money on this previous miner that I had, you know, and so now, you know, I could have bought 3 new miners if I would have just waited 6 months. And so that was I screwed that up really bad. And so yeah, I think that you know, it's really challenging, you know. It's really challenging. So we see that Bitcoin, you know, is continuing to stay within this $42 to $45 range. I mean, this could be, you know, I don't know if it's going to necessarily break out or what. We could see it go lower. I mean, we're looking at the weekly chart here. Let's go over to the let's go to the daily chart. I mean, Bitcoin is still within this range, and so yeah, it's just kind of just chopping this way. I mean, someone could argue that this could be well, I wouldn't call this a bull flag, but you see this price move up, you know, and it's continued to chop sideways. It's waiting for some information. So we're going to talk about why it's likely to go higher. I mean, we may see a pullback in near term. And a pullback could be, I mean, right here you have this moving average. This is the 200-day moving average. It's at 31,000. It could pull back to there. It may not, right? But we're going to talk about the bullish news. I mean, obviously we have the Bitcoin halving cycle where the amount of Bitcoins mined will be cut in half, and people are suspecting that the Bitcoin spot ETF is going to be approved here this next month, January. So let's go ahead and listen to Cathie Wood, who manages ARK ETFs and such. And so and we're going to jump in the comments here in a minute. But let's go ahead and listen to this and see what Cathie Wood has to say.
We don't want an ETF, a spot Bitcoin ETF, to get the green light if there are any uncertainties that the SEC may have. So I think we're answering those uncertainties one by one, each of the filers for a spot Bitcoin ETF. And I think the dialogues are very positive. And I think the outlook is bright for a spot Bitcoin ETF. And we do think it will be in January. Famous last words, don't want to say we know anything because we don't, but it's just the actions of the SEC that are leading us to that conclusion.
All right, so the actions of the SEC, no, let me cut that off. The actions of the SEC is leading them to that conclusion that a spot Bitcoin ETF will be approved. in January. And we know that the filers are BlackRock, Fidelity, Van Eck, and a few others, right? So that's bullish news for Bitcoin. Bitcoin could move a lot higher in the near term. And so you have this big money coming into the space. I think they've seen like how much potential, how much retail investors get into the space, and they want in on the action. That's all I could think about. So I am stacking crypto right now. I am dollar cost averaging as some crypto. We're gonna jump over to some comments though, and let's see what we have. Nick Coin said, "Do you have a suggestion?" I can email you the coins I'm invested in, or actually I can tell you here. But obviously not financial advice. I'm personally invested in coins such as Filecoin, Cardano. Also, I'm invested in Bitcoin, of course, Chainlink, AVAX, which is Avalanche, and then I have some Gala as well as Polkadot and Cosmos. And so those are the companies in the cryptos that I'm in right now. I will email that to you because you got to find I'll email it to you. So Stack and Server said, I do have a lot of hesitations about putting too much in versus precious metals, but I'm intrigued too. Yes. I mean, we got to have precious metals, it's insurance for our money, but to grow our money, this is like the fastest horse in the race. Obviously, Bitcoin, we saw the massive gains in this last bull market, and gold took a long time to get to where it needs to be, where it's at now. And so, obviously there were pullbacks in gold. You can make profits here and there. It pulled back to 1,700, jump to 1,900, jump to 2,000. You can make profits within that. And gold was very stable. If you would have been in gold during the bear market and when Bitcoin was cratering, you would have lost way less of your purchasing power than if you would have stayed in Bitcoin. However, we know that when the Fed cuts rates and you have these big investors coming in to get into the crypto space, you have an election year coming up, and obviously the current party in office is going to want to have a stable economy, potentially probably a growing economy. They cannot have a crash on their watch. I don't think the Democratic Party can have a crash on their watch this year. Regardless of, obviously, we have all these macro factors. I just think that if there's something that is going to go wrong, if there's some type of breakage or anything like that, the Fed's going to pivot ASAP. Because Jerome Powell's going to be under fire. And Democrats are going to be like, hey, we're trying to win office. This is an election year. We cannot have this happen, right? So that's just kind of how I think about it. It's a lot of political games in this too. Now, let's say after the election year, it's game on. We could have a crash, recession, or anything. But I just think as we leading up to this, I just don't think that there's going to be a crash in that time period. So let's see. Nick said, I really think you can rule the world the way he get info so fast right there at his fingertips. The Fed starts to lower rates in QE. It's along with commodities will go up, so will inflation. Yes, I agree. Inflation is going to go higher, especially when the printing presses come back on, because we're obviously debasing the currency. The M2 money supply is going to go higher, and we still have supply issues within the commodities. And so commodities are going to go higher. Nick Coin says, if someone didn't have a lot of money, where's the best place they can put it in crypto or mining stocks? Personally, I'm buying Gala. Gala is a cryptocurrency that you can purchase on crypto.com. All right, I will share screen here. Thanks for asking that, Nick. It's important that people that may not have a lot of money know where they can put and get the best bang for their buck. Right. So this is Gala. Gala is currently trading at 3 cents, 3.1 cents. I've been just accumulating them. I wish I would have been buying down here at 1.2 cents. I would have a lot more Gala than I have today. But overall, I mean, it's still very cheap. And when you really look at just the massive gains in this coin, I mean, the last bull market, this is just insane. Just how I'm trying to figure out what is wrong. This chart is kind of weird. I have to figure it out. But anyways, Gala was at 84 cents. Let me just look up a different chart because this one's kind of weird. Let's see. Maybe this will help. I don't know, y'all. I am not an expert with TradingView, and this was not happening. Maybe because I'm looking at the daily or something. Let's see. Yeah, now I can't even see it, y'all. This is crazy. Let's just pop over to Coin Market Cap. I don't know what the heck is going on. All right, so let's see. So now if we look at Gala on Gala Games, so Gala is a gaming token. This was founded by I forgot how to pronounce his name, but he co-founded the games Zynga Poker, Farmville, and Mafia Wars, which I used to play Zynga Poker a lot, and then he I've also seen Farmville and Mafia Wars. I used to see those ads all the time, and so he's actually behind this crypto coin, this crypto token. So Gala, it actually hit higher than this. This is just the closing, but it hit 84 cents, about 84 cents. This is the closing at 71 cents. So someone that didn't have a lot of money, they could have invested $100 in this coin. And let's say, hypothetically, let's go to a crypto profit calculator, right? This is a good tool right here. So let's say you bought Gala let's say you bought it at 2 cents in the last bear market before it ran up, and you invested $100. Let's go $100. And then you sold it. Let's say you just timed the top, right? You timed the top, right? That $100 investment would have turned to $4,100, right? Because you bought it so cheap, and that's what it shot up to. And that's the saying, like, if you're perfect at time in the market, which obviously I would not suggest that someone or advise someone to like try to time tops and bottoms because you get it wrong, right? But I've talked to many people about Dogecoin, buying it at a fifth of a penny and then it going up to 70 something cents. So no one timed it, right? No one timed it correctly. But if you have enough tokens, if you have enough coins, you can sell on your way to the top. I mean, you can sell like, okay, well, Gala went from 3 cents where it's at now, and it popped up to 20 cents. I'm taking some of that profit off the table, right? Okay, it pops up to 40 cents. I'm going to take some more off the table, but I'm still going to have some coins left, right? So if you, depending on how much you invest in the coin, the more you can profit take as the coin rides up. And then you're not in the position where you're timing tops and bottoms. And so Stack and Surfer said, thoughts on XRP. I've been seeing XRP in a lot of different videos. I have not dived deep into them. I just recently saw some bullish news on Cardano, but I have to go do some research. But XRP definitely has a lot of potential. Many people that I watch saying XRP is going to hit an all-time high, hit a new high. I have not touched XRP personally, but if we were to look at the chart, I remember XRP back in when it hit over $3. This was in 2017. I was at the YMCA with my friend Rodney. He was like, man, I'm buying Bitcoin. I put 5,000 in Bitcoin. And then I was like, okay, what's Bitcoin? He's explaining it to me. Yeah, I got XRP too. So at that time, I signed up for Binance. I bought XRP. He bought XRP. It shot up to over $3. And he made a lot of money, but he didn't sell. So he ended up losing all that money because he wanted to hold for the long term. However, you had spikes here and there. Obviously in 2021, you had a spike when I think that was when they got off of they won their case against the SEC or something like that. And so now it's just sitting at 63 cents. But it's been a while since it had an all-time high. The all-time high is back in 2018. So, I mean, there's obviously some use case for it, right? But let's look at the market cap. So the market cap for XRP is 34 billion. It isn't too bad. It's number 6. The total supply of XRP is about 100 billion. That's total supply. Currently circulating is 54 billion. So for XRP to, let's see, if we look at the market cap chart, I mean, it hit 131 billion back in 2018. It has not reached that ever since. So that's when the coin went from, however many cents to, I think it was 25 cents around here to $3.50, somewhere like that. So the market cap, will have to, go significantly higher for you to see like some major returns, which is possible. I mean, Bitcoin hit a $1 trillion market cap, right? So let's look at something like Dogecoin, for example. So Doge, everybody was in there. That's why I look at Doge. Dogecoin current market cap is at 13 billion. But if you look at the price chart for their previous market cap, I mean, they hit 73 billion, right? But they also have more supply than XRP. XRP has 50 million coins in circulation. Dogecoin has 50 billion coins in circulation, and Dogecoin has 142 billion. So, XRP could run, but yeah, I don't really have a take on them or whatnot. XRP is currently at about 63 cents. So yeah, that's where XRP is. All right, so now we're going to jump over to the other bear asset we have to talk about. So we know that the Bitcoin spot ETF is probably coming in January. You heard it from Cathie Wood, who has some clout in the game, has some relationships. I'm sure she's probably getting some knowledge somewhere, but she says based off what the SEC is saying, they're expecting it to be approved. So, yeah, you have some big players, huge players that are in the game that are working to approve this ETF. And so I'm not saying just go out and buy anything, but there's something that you may want to consider because I'm trying to get some money on this crypto bull market. So we're going to jump over to my favorite asset, though. This is where we're going to jump to. We're going to jump to gold, right? All right. The top dog. Well, not in price, but it's definitely the OG of them all, of all bear assets, right? All right. So London gold price benchmark breaks all-time high. And let's see, London's gold price benchmark hit an all-time high of $2,069 an ounce. And yeah, this is where gold has been, right? It's been chilling in the $2,000 range. I think it's gonna be breaking out at some point. So yeah, I think TradingView was tripping. I think it was the charts that I was selecting, but yeah, because this looks a lot different. All right, so we're gonna jump to the rest of the article and then get to the charts. So it pretty much surpassed the previous record of 2,067. So these are closing records because gold has hit above 2,100, but it hasn't closed above 2,100. And so this is it actually closed at an all-time high, but it only beat it by $2.35. But it's still hovering there, right? So we have to consider that. I can think of no clearer demonstration of gold's role as a store of value than the enthusiasm with which investors across the world have turned to the metal during recent economic and geopolitical turmoils, says LMBA's chief executive officer, Ruth Kroll. All right, so it talks about LBMA. So it opened the year, gold opened a year at 1835. It has since risen by 12.7%. And so it says since the turn of the century, the price has increased more than sevenfold. So we know that gold is insurance for your money. I mean, you insure against the dollar losing value. You insure against volatility in the markets. So, I own Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is volatile. And at some point, the volatility will decrease, I think. But it's still highly volatile versus gold, right? So gold has been that store of value that preserves your purchasing power and continues to go up as the dollar loses value. So yeah, that's gold right there. Now let's go ahead and get to the charts. All right. So we see gold is currently at where's it at? 2072. And this is where I'm talking about. Gold has hit above 2100. I mean, it was here back in early December. It hit almost 2145, but it did not close above that. So we're looking at the closing here. So as we can see, you see this triple top here, right? You have August 11th of 2020. You have March of 2022. We know pandemic. We know Russia, Ukraine. We know banking crisis within the United States. Gold definitely responds to crisis. And so, as you can see, I mean, this just continues to hammer on this this level here, which is 2072. Just continues to hammer on that level. And, well, that's where the line is at. So, however, right now it's at closed at 2060 something. I think it may be lower than that because that article was from a day ago. But gold continues to drop and then rise up, and it's hammering on this. So we have a triple. I mean, this is a quadruple top, right? Quadruple 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that gold is going to break all-time highs, even more than $2. And it's going to go to the upside and be technically, I mean, just repriced based off the value, how much value the dollar has lost. So that's where we're at with gold. All right. So before I jump off of this live, I want to jump to one last article. This is the reason why you want to own bearer assets such as gold and Bitcoin. Ethiopia becomes Africa's latest sovereign default. As we read in the last article, where gold hit an all-time high, there's a lot of uncertainty, economic uncertainty, geopolitical factors. And so you got to have money outside of the system, right? You cannot be dependent on these financial systems. You got to have money outside of the system that is stored, that is protected, that is in your hand, right? Whether that's a hardware wallet or whether that's physical gold or silver, right? So Ethiopia became Africa's third default in as many years on Tuesday after it failed to make a $33 million coupon payment on its only international government bond. Africa's second most populous country announced earlier this month that it intended to formally go into default, having been under severe financial strain in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic and a 2-year civil war that ended in November of 2022. So, economic factors, I mean, COVID-19 pandemic, I don't know exactly what Ethiopia was going through during that time. I'd have a lot of admiration for Ethiopia. You all that know me, I'm a Christian. Ethiopia is the second oldest Christian country in the world. So there's a lot of history there, right? A lot of history there and things of that nature. But, they're going through a lot of financial stuff, right? So as you can see, the COVID-19 pandemic, I mean, economies are shut down across the world. Trade wasn't happening as much. Ports were shut down. All these different things, right? And not every government had the ability to print money. And so And when you see the United States, with the money printer, they're able to print as much as they wanted, right? But um, they had some severe financial strain when the pandemic hit them. And it says in a 2-year civil war that ended in November of 2022. So you have political risks there. So it had been supposed to make the payment on December 11th, but technically had up to Tuesday to provide the money due to a 14-day grace period clause written into the $1 billion bond. According to two sources familiar with the situation, bondholders had not been paid the coupon as of the end of Friday, December 22nd, the last international banking working day before the grace period expires. Ethiopian government officials did not respond to requests for comment on Friday or over the weekend. But the widely expected default will see it to join two other African nations, Zambia and Ghana, in a full-scale common framework restructuring. The East African country first requested debt relief under the G20-led initiative in early 2021. Progress was initially delayed by the civil war, but with its foreign exchange reserves depleted and inflation soaring, Ethiopia's official sector government creditors, including China, agreed to a debt service suspension deal in November. On December 8th, the government said parallel negotiations it had been having with pension funds and other private sector creditors that hold its bond had broken down. So the pension funds and private sector creditors that hold its bond had broken down. So you got to reduce this risk, like England had a currency, not a currency, I think they had a pension crisis and such. And so defaulting on the government, defaulting on your debt. Let's say you work for the government and your government defaults on its debt or something. What's the likelihood of you going to get your pension, right? Or things of that nature. So you have to have wealth outside of the system, which that is why you want to consider bearer instruments. Let's see. We have some comments over here in the chat. Michael Lyman, I'm inclined to agree. Quite a momentum structure here. Gold goes up and down, but it's up a good bit over the entire year. Yep, it's up over 12%. The key to having money outside the system, the key is to have money outside the system. Also need to have a network in which exchange or barter outside the system. Agreed. You have to have a network of people. You have to have people. We all have different diverse skills, talents, resources, things of that nature. Like me, I can't be the jack of all trades in every single thing. And I'm aware of that, but I do have a specific skill set. And so I tend to network and build relationship with people that have skills that I don't have or resources that I don't have. But it's also a mutually beneficial thing because I have things that they don't have. And so you have to have a community of people, to survive like this nonsense. Let's see. Nick Coyne said, people don't realize here in the States, once deflation really starts, it'll be worse on some than inflation. Yep. So we had deflation in the Great Depression. That was deflationary time. That was really bad. You had a bust. You had the banking crisis. You had the Roaring '20s, and then you had the banking crisis of the market crash in 1929 that led to the banking crisis. Everything was deflating, and so it was really bad, really bad. Nick Coyne says this has happened to pensions and local government where they defaulted. Yes. I have done some videos where we've looked at the pensions systems and the pension, which states are the best funded for pensions. And so many states, I think Rhode Island, Illinois, New Jersey, and many other states in that area in the East Coast were heavily underfunded by some were over 100 billion underfunded. You had people that work in these jobs, going to work every day, waking up at 5 a.m., getting home at 4 p.m. or whatever. And doing that for years, dedicating years of their lives to these jobs, and then their pension was not there. So you got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself. And so obviously we're in a bull market for crypto and gold, but ultimately, you want to have something to protect yourself. So that's the message for today. All right, you all, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you have not subscribed yet, I would appreciate your support on the channel. I do have a schedule that I'm building for the new year. I'm going to be having some of the famous guests that have been on my channel before coming back onto the channel to talk about the year and what they expect for the year. We got a few things to get into. We're in an election year coming up, all these different things, right? And so we definitely have to get to it. So be sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, bell for notifications. I want to thank you all for joining today. You all have a happy new year. If I do not see you all, next couple of days, and y'all have a blessed night, I guess morning, if you're on the other side of the world, but appreciate you.